Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the class. Today we will be focusing on critical language awareness. Firstly, we're going to talk about what critical language awareness is. We will also discuss and see how language and power interact with one another. We will focus on persuasive and manipulative language, and we'll look at emotive language. Bias, stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination will also be discussed. And we will see how we can apply critical language awareness in our exams, specifically in the advertisement and cartoon questions. Now, what is critical language awareness? It empowers you, the learner, or the individual, to resist manipulation and to use language effectively. Now, what does it mean to resist manipulation? You are then able to identify when you are manipulated, either by companies that are trying to sell you products or services, or even you're able to identify when a person, an individual, is manipulating you. Using language sensitively then also means we will be able to identify which situation calls for which type of language. Critical language theory is also about making conscious choices of the words that we're going to use. The grammar, as well as the register, discourse, and even the structure in your daily life. Now, specifically the choice of words, you'll be conscious of when you are in conversations with different types of people. When you're with your friends, you might speak in a different way than you are talking to someone that works in your job above you, like a boss, a manager, maybe even someone that is a senior in your culture. We speak differently and use different words for different situations. Register specifically is referring to informal language versus formal language. Discourse is when I am aware of words that I use in discussions with people and also the structure in my daily life. Now let's kick off with persuasive language. Now this is where language and power comes into play. I can use language to persuade people. Persuasive language is used to convince the audience to take a certain course of action. Either I want them to agree with me on an issue. This will be for when I have arguments or debates or discussions. I will use language to lead them to believe what I am saying or to agree with me. Or persuasive language can be used to buy products or services. Companies use persuasive language to make us want to buy their products or even feel certain emotions when they want us to. They use our emotions against us. Now let's look at this advertisement as our first examples. Now, when we are in a question 3 and we do the advertisement, we know we must first identify what type of thing is being advertised. Either is it a product, a service, an opportunity, or even a charity. Now, in this advertisement, we have a product, Clorox disinfectant wipes. Now, how does persuasive language come into play in this advertisement? The company decided to use the word trusted and by moms specifically. Trusted, meaning we can trust this product. It works and it will not let us down. Using by moms tells us that these are caregivers. Moms want the best for their families. Therefore, this product must be good and safe and the best. They've even used at the bottom of the Clorox wipes 5 stars and a quote from someone that says that the rating of this product is 5 stars. This review also persuades us to buy the product. Underneath the review, we even have buy now, which feels so urgent to us, and it persuades us to buy this product. Now, the question that will be asked in a paper is, which technique did the advertiser use to convince the audience to buy these wipes? Your answer is then the advertiser used persuasive language to entice me to buy the products. They used the word trusted, they used moms, and they had a review. Now let's go to another example. Advertisers can also use bias in the advertisements, and we can also find bias in cartoons. Now, what is bias? It is a strong preference leaning for or against something that often stops people from being fair or objective. Now, in this advertisement, we have cookies. This brand has a slogan here on the packaging that says, America's favorite cookie. Now, that slogan is quite biased because, of course, an advertiser would say its own product is the favorite one that Americans would buy. So this company is biased because they are using their own product and saying it is the favorite one that the country uses. This slogan is biased and persuasive, and it convinces the consumer that the whole country of America loves this brand, which is not fair or objective because not all Americans will like this brand. So again, if the question is asked, what technique did the advertiser use to convince the consumer to buy this product? You can say the slogan is used to persuade us. It is biased, but it did convince me that if America likes this cookie, then I would like this cookie as well and buy it. In this advertisement, the product being sold is cleaning products, Plush Supreme. Now, this slogan has the secret to a cleaner and fresher home. The company is using a persuasive technique by saying that their product is the answer to the secret behind a cleaner, fresher home. So if you are wondering on how to get a clean and fresh and beautiful smelling home, they have the answer. This company is persuading us to buy their product with the language that they're using, the secret, and they have the answer. Here we have an older advertisement for McDonald's, and The top of the advertisement, they also have this line that says, "You deserve a break today." Now, after working hard the day and you want to relax, this company says that you deserve to rest. But this company is not saying that you can rest how you want to rest. They're actually manipulating you into making you feel good and to make you feel that they care about you. In this ad, the company wants us to rest, but they only want us to rest effectively by getting in our car and visiting their establishment to buy food. This is another persuasive technique that they're using. The pronoun you, from "you deserve a break today," is a way the company communicates with us, making us feel like they care about us. Now, there are lots of different biases and stereotypes. So let's look at the next slide when we talk about stereotypes. Now, what is a stereotype? It is a widely held and oversimplified image of a type of person, thing, or even a group. Now, we have a stereotype here on screen, a gender stereotype, where it is believed that women are afraid of rodents, and when they see a mouse, they would jump up on a chair or a counter and yell because they are afraid. The mouse in this cartoon is saying, "Oh, stop self stereotyping women." But this is commenting on the stereotype that is of women in this case. Now, stereotypes are used in advertisements and in cartoons strongly because they want to manipulate or carry across a message of some kind. Now, there isn't just stereotypes for gender, but okay, let me show you another gender stereotype after this. Here is another gender stereotype, and yet he can change a tire. Now, at the bottom of this advertisement, we see that the product being advertised is Kleenex, which is a tissues and toilet paper company. And they are using the stereotype of men being able to change a tire, which is a lot of hard work, and yet they cannot seem to remember, or it's too much of a hassle for them to change the toilet paper roll. This is a stereotype, and they are using this to sell their product, as it does create humor in this case. And when people laugh, they do tend to also buy products. Now, not only gender stereotypes exist, but we have a few others. You also have stereotypes like oh, men do all of the strong work. We also have like girls are only concerned with their physical appearance, for example. That's another stereotype. Stereotypes existing about librarians wearing only glasses, teachers eating apples, the stereotype that all drivers, women drivers are bad drivers, for example, or all politicians are dishonest. When you hear absolutes like that, that is a stereotype of a group of people. It is not fair or objective, as not all of the people in that group are like that. Another part of critical language awareness is prejudice. Now, that is when you have a preconceived opinion about something. Now, you do need to have quite a large general knowledge to be able to identify prejudices and biases. But in this cartoon, unfortunately, our character doesn't have these red hair in the cartoon, but he says to his friend, "Do not call me a ginger. My hair is pure gold." So we assume that his hair is red. And she replies to him and says, "Yes, 24 carats." So 24 carat referring to the gold, because gold is measured in carats, but also the fact that he is a red-haired boy. Carat is also then orange. Now, this is a prejudice. There's a prejudice against people with red hair. So it's usually an intolerance or a prejudgment about a group of people. Now, we can also have many prejudices that exist. There are so many prejudices that exist every day in our modern world today, and you might then come across them in your papers, in the cartoons, or in the advertisements. In the next advertisement, I will show you some prejudice against women. This is an older advertisement where this company is advertising a new type of bottle cap that can twist open. So it doesn't take a lot of strength to open this bottle. You don't need a bottle opener. Yet they decide to use the image because the tagline is, "You mean a woman can open it?" Without a knife, without a blade and a bottle opener, without even a husband. So this company is using prejudice or the view that women need help to open jars or bottles. And they are using that in their advertisement, saying that now you don't need a man to open it anymore. You can open it yourself. So that's another prejudice that exists in this cartoon. Now, after persuasive language, we can also look at emotive language. Now, you can hear the answer in the concept's name, emotive. The word emotion is there. Now, emotive language is word choice that is used to evoke emotion. Now, to evoke emotion means to draw the emotion out of you, to get the emotion out of you. Now, it's also called an emotional language, and it is considered a persuasive technique. You can use the word persuasive language and emotive language when you answer questions for advertisements and cartoons. Remember, they're going to ask you what technique is used to convince the reader to buy the product or to convince you that a character in the cartoon is right or wrong. It depends on what the cartoon or advertisement is about. Now, the words can be used to evoke strong emotional responses from you. You can read a tagline in a cartoon or an advertisement, and you can feel anger, or you can feel happiness. You can even feel conviction, which means you are ready to go. You want to get up and do something about something. And you can also be used to coerce you, the reader, to agree with them. Now, in this advertisement, there is a literal emotive language word being used. You see this Coca-Cola advertisement says hashtag open happiness, happiness full stop, Coca-Cola full stop. Now, with pairing the visual of a happy couple getting along and drinking the product, you also have these emotive words. This product will provide you not only with happiness, but it can also even seems like provide you with a relationship that is going well. So they're using emotive language and even the visual to draw emotions out of you. So if you're not happy, buy our product and you will feel happy. This is how they manipulate you and persuade you to buy certain products with their visuals and with all of the words that they use. So just take a moment to look at this image and decide what you feel when you read these words. This is an advertisement from Nike, and we know that their slogan is just do it. They are using a picture of an athlete up close, staring at you in the eye, and this is saying believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Very strong words being used, and it evokes emotion out of us. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. These words, for specifically the believe, all humans want to believe in something. All of us are working towards something. We know that it takes sacrifice to achieve goals. And this company sells athleisure and sneakers, and athletes wear their apparel all the time. And they know that they want to evoke the emotion from their customer to be focused, to be hardworking, to have vision, to feel determination. And these strong words make us also feel something. And then we buy into what the company wants to sell us. They're not just selling their apparel, their shoes, or their clothes. They are selling us determination, and they are selling us that we can achieve our dreams when we buy their product. Now, before we move on to the next slide, I want to just recap that we have now done persuasive and emotive language. And we've talked about prejudices. We've talked about um, uh, all of these other persuasive techniques that can be asked of you in an exam. Now we're going to move on to other types of words. We have the connotation of words and the denotation of words. Now, what is the difference between these two? The denotative meaning or the denotation refers to the objective meaning of the word, and you will find this meaning in the dictionary. For example, if I look up the word fire, I will see it is a source of heat, a way to cook food or bring warmth. Now, the connotative meaning is actually the emotional associations that we have with a word or with a phrase, which is a group of words, as opposed to its actual exact meaning. The connotation is something that you sense and for which you develop a feeling. The connotation of a word is the implied meaning. Now, implied meaning is often used in our papers where you have to read between the lines to see what a character or advertisement is trying to say. It is not a literal meaning, it will be a connotation to that word. Now, like I said previously, the denotative meaning of the word fire, for example, is a way to cook food for warmth, but some people might read or hear the word fire and they will have an emotional response because they have an experience with the word fire. For example, a positive connotation. When I hear fire, I might think of a braai or spending time with family, sharing stories around the campfire. Or a person can react negatively to the word fire. They might think of maybe even a house fire or having a traumatic event in the kitchen where something burned down or someone was injured. It might elicit a trauma response. And each of us will have different responses to different phrases and words. And ladies and gentlemen, companies know that about us. They spend lots of money to research us. Their marketing teams know exactly what reactions people will have to certain words and certain phrases when they use it in their campaigns. So let's look at another example. Now, on the screen, we have now a snake. Now, this is a word. This is just a normal word in the English language. Yet some people will react differently to the word snake, or we can even use the word snake in different ways. Now, the experience that you have with the word snake might differ from the person next to you. What would be the denotation of the word snake, the dictionary meaning? The actual objective meaning of snake will be legless, carnivorous, reptile. So, what is a snake? It doesn't have legs, it eats meat, and it is cold blooded. That is what literally the meaning is of snake. Yet, we can use the word snake not only literally, we can use it to in a connotative way. In our society, a snake has a connotation to evil or to danger. And maybe you have a cartoon or an advertisement in a paper where they use a snake, the snake's connotation, not the snake's denotation. And if they ask you then what is the persuasive technique used or what technique did they use, you can say that the word snake has been used not in the denotative way, but in the connotative way where they know that we have a connotation of evil or danger. You can, when you even describe, let's say, a friend being a snake, that will then also refer to someone that has betrayed you, someone that has hurt you. Now, let's try and identify some persuasive and emotive language. We can look at some bias and stereotypes again in some of these examples. Let's practice a few together. Now, here we have an advertisement and a logo from a company, Nokia. They have an image, and their image also has their slogan, connecting people. Now we can ask, what is the persuasive technique that they're using in their slogan? Why would people have a positive connotation to Nokia when we look at the image and of the slogan? Now, first of all, the visual or two hands holding, which shows relationship. That's why Nokia decided to use the word connecting, because their product is a product that connects people. Cell phones or whatever services they provide do connect people. People are talking, people are growing their relationships, building their relationships with Nokia's products. The word connecting is a persuasive word because it does tend to make us feel like we have a connection not only with the company, but it feels like we want to connect with our own people, because we do have, as humans, the need to feel seen and connected to people. Now, this is a very big promise Nokia is making, and this is a very persuasive image and slogan that they have. Now, in the next slide, we also see some persuasive techniques. Now, this is from a bank that has a question for you on their billboard. Would you blow it or grow it? Now, this has to do with money. Obviously, a bank wants your money. They want you to save your money, invest your money. They want to manage your money. And they are asking you a question. This is a persuasive technique to ask a question to the audience, because a question does make you think. Now, not only is the persuasive technique a question, they've also here used rhyming words that also persuade us to even remember this line that they're giving us. And it makes us think, do we want to use our money, blow it, spend it all? Or do we want to be more responsible and grow it and invest the money? So many persuasive techniques used here in this example. Now, in the next slide, I have an example of a previous paper where they gave us a mouthwash from Parodontax Daily Gum Care in fresh mint. Now, they did ask specifically in this paper what technique was used or what words or diction was used in this advertisement to convince us to use this product. Now, you will see at the top there the title or the name of the product, Parodontax, and it also says Daily Gum Care and Mouthwash. Underneath it says scientifically proven to help keep gums healthy. Now, a way for this company to help sell their product is to use the phrase scientifically proven. You had to say that. This, I will go to the question here. It says here at 3.6, does the advertiser succeed in convincing the reader to purchase the product? Substantiate your answer. Now, it's easy to say yes here for me because I can see that they're convincing me, and I'm just going to go back to the slide, by using persuasive language, by saying scientifically proven, because that makes me feel safe that doctors have tested this product, that this product is safe to use. And if a doctor or a scientist has proven this to be true, this gives it credibility as well. Now, I just want to go back and revise this with you. I want to just talk about these things again. I want to start here and remind you why we are doing this. We want you to resist manipulation, and we want you to be able to identify the manipulation in the advertisements and even in the cartoons when they speak to one another. We also want you to use language sensitively. In certain cases, you might be using your words differently. You're going to think about the choices of your words before you use them. I also want to remind you that today we also talked about persuasive language. We want to be able to identify when someone is trying to convince us to do something. Either they want us to agree with them, or they want us to see their product as the best, or they want us to feel certain emotions to help us to even evoke emotions out of us to manipulate us to buy something. I also wanted to remind you of the word bias. When I am biased, it means that I have a specific preference towards something, and that preference, I'm leaning to one side usually, I'm a preference, it stops me from being fair and objective. So the next part, we talked about stereotypes. Now, there are many stereotypes that exist. We have gender stereotypes or even stereotypes. We have the gender stereotype here on the screen again, and the gender stereotype here again for men. But we also have the stereotypes about librarians wearing glasses, teachers eating apples, all politicians being bad, or overweight people, they must be lazy. All of these stereotypes are being used in advertisements and cartoons. Let's be aware of them. We also talked about prejudice, where we have a preconceived opinion. There's an opinion about ginger-haired people, and in this cartoon we see that. We also have preconceived notions about groups of people. there's intolerance and prejudgments of people. Like in the next slide, we talked about the prejudgment that she needs a husband to open a bottle for her. She is not strong enough to do it, and this company is using that prejudice in their advertisement to sell a product. So after prejudice and we have the emotive language again. I'm reminding you that all of these advertisements and cartoons can draw emotions out of us. That is a persuasive technique. They want us to feel anger or happiness. Sometimes they even want us to feel lonely and sad, so that we are coerced to either agree with them or buy their product, so that they can make money, and that their product is the answer to our questions. We also talked about connotation and denotation. A denotation is the actual objective meaning of the word. So in the cartoon or advertisement, and you will see sometimes you have to read between the lines. The words don't necessarily have their denotative meaning there. They are using the connotative meaning. And you must read between the lines to identify what emotional associations do these words have. Not necessarily the real objective meanings. Like in the cartoon, they might use a snake, but the cartoon are two people fighting, and one of the friends tells the other one that they are a snake. This is not denotative, this is the connotative meaning. And then lastly, we went through some examples. And when you work out previous papers and they ask you what persuasive techniques are used in all of these examples, when you work out your papers, you can say they're using persuasive language, and you can quote the words that you feel is persuading you. You can quote the words that is evoking emotion in you. You can write the words that are prejudice or shows bias, so that the marker can see that you understand that there is something else happening here, not just only the literal meanings of words. Now, this is the end of our presentation, and I will wait if there are any questions. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to critical language awareness. And I would implore you to go and ask your educators to go even further into detail for you and give you more examples to practice, so that you're able to identify critical language awareness. Be aware of how language is used to persuade you. And if you are reacting emotionally to something that you're reading or listening to, you must ask yourself, are you reacting that way out of your own decision, or did the speaker or the advertisement evoke that out of you? Let's be aware of how language is used to manipulate us, and let's be aware of our language can be used sensitively when we are in different circumstances. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.